Hi guys, Rap Critic here, and this was a Patreon voted episode. And if you'd like to vote on the song I review, plus see videos early and have access to the RC Discord and exclusive episodes of my movie podcast, go to my Patreon in the link tree below. So let's talk about Tyler the Creator. And boy, is there a lot to talk about. Because dude has been on quite the journey as a public persona, starting as the leader of a bunch of scruffy young edgelord outsider hype boys noted for their dark, grungy production style, and gradually shifting into a demonstrably more mature solo artist, developing a richer, fleshed-out musical tapestry accompanied by more pensive, honest lyrics that brightened up his discography along the way. Now, if you haven't tuned into Tyler's world in a minute, you may be confused. You might only remember him as the crass internet rap troll who says purposely offensive shit while wearing bright, silly, ironic shirts with cats on them. But around the time he explicitly came out of the closet, it was part and parcel to a bit of a sea change to his output. The craggy, manic musical production and mean-spirited blind rage in his lyrics that frequently made his earlier stuff, quite frankly, literally unlistenable at times, started to make way for breezier, more polished tunes that saw him writing from a way more emotionally vulnerable place, while still managing to maintain his authentic, oddball sensibilities as an artist, with today's single as a perfect example of his new aesthetic. Check out my podcast where we reviewed most of his discography, including his latest album, to get my full thoughts, but yeah, suffice to say, as his career's gone on, even for me as someone who definitely was put off at first, following his metamorphosis into a more well-rounded artist has been pretty fascinating. I mean, to make it plain, dude has basically gone from this to this. Like, whoa, this is not the same world of music. Now, of course, the bright, sunshiny 90s West Coast R&B synth sample being used in today's song What's Your Name is easily doing most of the heavy lifting for him in terms of creating the mood. With the pumped-up, refurbished mixing of the sample and the sexy, deep voice whispering on the original song weaving into the mix of new featured singers layered over the hook as they add an extra sheen of soulful energy that floats the track to new heights, setting the stage for the MC to turn on the charm for the object of his affection.
Oh, you look malnourished.
Which, you know, quite the opening gambit there.
Are you suffering from internal parasites?
It's like one of those compliments that initially registers like an insult, so it throws you off.
I see you're drinking 1%. Is that because you think you're fat? Because you're not. You could be drinking whole if you wanted to.
Except here, Tyler's delivery gives it that air of self-awareness where you can tell he's being corny on purpose. Like, okay, we all know it's a common thing that girls like being told they look thin, so to start by implying that she looks an unhealthy level of skinny as the lead into offering a dinner date, it's a sort of uber cheesiness that wraps back around to being endearing if you can sell it right.
Oh, you look malnourished. Let's get some bread, fried an egg, yolk, and the syrup.
However, many hints occur that suggest this smooth, charismatic introduction hasn't even happened yet. And as the video plays out, the language of the visuals have a very insular focus, as the camera is just slightly too uncomfortably zoomed in on Tyler as he buzzes around this girl attempting to sway her with his words. Meanwhile, any glances you get at the love interest played by Zendaya has her looking completely disinterested.
Got a man, you should cut it off, get your passport, cause we run it off.
Almost as if it's an inversion of the typical R&B video this production is invoking, where the main singer dances around a blushing love interest who's too bashful to admit she likes him. Instead, in this video, it ends with Tyler's love interest ultimately sitting down with another dude as if nothing he said even happened. Maybe he hasn't been talking to her this whole time, and these lyrics were just perfect scenarios devised in his head as preemptive fantasies of things going right, with the sublime rosiness of the production personifying the bubbly feelings you get when you first see someone you think is beautiful and perfect, even though you don't really know who they are yet. As well, I want to point out the playfully deceptive rhyme scheme that unfolds at the beginning of the verse.
Oh, you look malnourished. Let's get some bread, fried an egg, yolk, and the syrup.
Which at first your brain connects as the first rhyme scheme because of course they sound similar enough to be passable. But as the verse continues, you can hear a contrast in the next rhymes.
You pick a spot, I pick a tail number, and we could be tourists. Let's go to Cannes and watch a couple indie movies that you never heard of.
With the tourist and heard of rhymes sort of clashing to the ear and not fitting as well as the previous rhyme couplet, until you zoom out and realize this grouping of lyrics fits better if you look at it through an A-B-A-B rhyming format, with every other line rhyming together. So it's really the first lyric rhyming with the third line and the second with the fourth. It's a neat little technique that stretches out the rhyme scheme as a way of toying with your expectation of how the flow is going to land. And as much as I want to point out these examples of him using a fun, unconventional approach to what could have just been a typical rap love song, then the second verse happens by YoungBoy Never Broke Again. Which, what a name when you think about it. You know, often rappers have to deal with the slight awkwardness that comes with still calling yourself Lil or Young once they start spouting gray hairs, but this guy's rap name is a double whammy. The dude's name is specifically YoungBoy. Like, there's going to come a day where that's clearly not going to be a fitting description anymore. And then, never broke again. I mean, on one hand, you just gotta admire the confidence in his financial planning, but on the other, man, that's not gonna be a name you get to live down if things ever go sideways. Like, he can't go broke now, you know he's never gonna hear the end of it. He'd have to change his name to Adult Man, okay, so I did go broke, fuck you. And, I mean, hey, we're clearly doing full sentence rap names now, so you might as well go all the way with it. But yeah, then YoungBoy's verse starts, with nowhere near the same level of charisma as Tyler.
What is your name? What do you bring?
Tyler's corny, but his opener is at least trying to be smooth about the shit. This verse comes in sounding like it's a job application or something.
What is your name? What do you bring?
Yes, what's a unique talent of yours that will benefit his work environment? And you know, whatever, you don't exactly have to do the lovesick puppy angle if that's not you. But he just so obviously isn't matching Tyler's energy in the lyrics, it just ends up being such a jarring contrast for a song that's only 2 minutes long, so functionally half of the song just throws away all that romantic setup. And some of his lines are just downright confusing.
I think that I got what you need and I'm willing to do anything that you please.
Oh yeah, YoungBoy's willing to do anything you ask for, girl.
No, you can't eat my lean, no.
Oh, anything except letting you drink anything out of his cup, apparently. Wow, what a gentleman.
McLaren like Sonic can't speed, no.
What, the McLaren's like Sonic because it can't speed? All Sonic does is speed. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I really tried to listen in to hear if there was a word or some context I missed, or maybe he said it can speed and the emphasis on the word just sounded weird. But no, afterwards he adds a no to the sentence like he just said a negative. So that's what he said. The McLaren, like Sonic, can't speed. You know, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean.
Your body competitive fashion, I hope you ain't got the shit that I bought.
You get it? Because he said, I hope you're not Prada the shit that I bought. Because Prada also sounds like proud of. And he's saying he hopes that if you're with him, it's because you like him and not because you're proud of the things he bought. But, you know, that's not how anyone would say that. So it's painfully clear he only said that for the sake of a really weak pun that wasn't worth it.
1 minute, it's a beautiful sin. Try to end when we been so gone.
Am I interpreting this right? Because it kind of sounds like he's telling his girl, hey, we could be having a great day one moment, and the next, I could get shot by a rival gang member and need to be carted off to the hospital, because, you know, it's just the life I lead, man. I mean, that feels like a bit of a mood killer to bring up, but, you know, if you're trying to be real with the girl, I certainly can't knock the honesty.
Think slow, 'cause I move fast.
Think slow? Why would you tell her that? If there's fucking bullets whizzing by you all the time, that feels like the time to be thinking on your feet. Unless he's saying like, hey babe, think slow, take your time before you decide to join up with me. In which case, you know, I mean, you certainly gave her a lot to think about there, but it definitely feels like you gave her a lot more cons than pros is all I'm saying. Overall, I gotta give this one a 2 out of 5. I wanted to like it more because the first minute is incredible, but with the song being only a super short 2 minutes, the whole experience flies by so fast you barely have time to luxuriate in the warmth of the sound, especially before the second verse comes in and basically tramples all over the romantic energy of it. Like, I'd still never change the radio station if it came on, because that sample is absolute ear candy, but unfortunately it just becomes kind of generic halfway through by way of a second verse that bogs down the full potential of what started off as an almost transcendently offbeat rap love song that could have really shined if everyone was on the same page. Well, that's the episode. Leave a like if you like because it helps, comment if you have something to say because it helps even more, and hit the subscribe and the bell button afterwards because the bell is what actually alerts you to new episodes. And if you want to keep up with everything I'm doing, check out my link tree below for Twitch streams, merch, movie and album review podcasts, and any other stuff I'm up to. So check all that fun stuff out and I'll catch you next time. Peace.